Good evening and welcome. We've got big breaking news coming in right on the top of newsroom tonight. I'm Rahul Kanwal. Governor Vidyasagar Rao has sent a 3-page note to the Ministry of Home Affairs. India Today is the only news channel to have been able to access this note. In this note, Governor Rao says that Sasikala cannot be Chief Minister because there is the DA case verdict pending against her. He says he is bound by the Constitution to wait for a few days so that there is a clear picture. Remember, this is a crushing blow to Sasikala's ambition to be the next Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. This story breaking right here on India Today. First and exclusive. In this note sent by Governor Rao, he says Sasikala cannot be Chief Minister. He's also said that this is a peculiar situation. There's no precedent of its kind. It's a unique situation. We will get you the full inside track on this note sent by the governor, which will decide what happens next in Tamil Nadu politics. Also on the show this evening, the MLAs locked up in a resort. A DSP, a cop tried to enter. He was virtually shooed away by the AIADMK strongmen who were standing guard.
In the middle of lush Mahabalipuram is the Golden Bay Resort, where Sasikala's loyalists are living it up. India Today has accessed exclusive footage of the beachside resort, where Chinnamma and her flock are experiencing a life of luxury, albeit in captivity. And a senior cop was also not allowed to enter this resort. On the newsroom tonight is the Golden Bay Resort in Mahabalipuram turning into a standalone AIADMK republic.
We have lots of information pouring in this Friday evening, all of it coming on our smartphone. I'll put it out to you in just a moment. Also on the show at 10:30 p.m, the BJP aggressively dialing Rajnikant. They want to cast him in their Tamil Nadu potboiler. So far, Rajnikant hasn't said yes. But India Today has been told by sources very close to Rajnikant that there's a lot of pressure on him to come on board. Will the superstar become the next superstar of Tamil Nadu politics? That is the key question. But right on the top, the story that only India Today has been able to access, the 3-page note of the governor sent to the centre, a note which says, under the current circumstances, till the time the Supreme Court verdict comes out, the governor expresses his inability to swear in Sasikala. I want to go across to T.S. Sudhir. He's joining us on the line from Chennai. He's breaking the story to us. Very significant, Sudhir, this, because this is what everybody was waiting for. What will the governor say in this report he sent out? He's saying that Sasikala can't at this time be Chief Minister till the time the Supreme Court verdict comes out. Sudhir, tell me more.
Absolutely, and in fact, he also points out a major anomaly, Rahul, that the claim that she has, claim letter that she has given to the governor saying that she has been elected the leader of the legislature party. Now that resolution has the Paneerselvam actually proposing her name. And that's very, very weird because Paneerselvam is no longer in that list of 134 MLAs who are actually supporting Sasikala now. So that's a very strange situation which the governor has pointed out. Apart from the fact that he has also said that the DA case verdict is pending against her, which means there would be some kind of a question mark on her ability to get elected as an MLA within 6 months. He also believes that he's bound by the Constitution to wait for a few days so that a clear picture emerges. Significantly, he has also asked in that note to the DGP to go to the resort near Mahabalipuram where the MLAs are presumably kept captive and ensure that MLAs are there only if they are there at their own free will. And lastly, and this is very significant, he believes there is no vacuum in Tamil Nadu at this point in time because there is a caretaker chief minister in place. So he's backing Paneerselvam completely, thinking that believing that he's the man who is in charge, and therefore there is really no room at the moment for him to swear in Sasikala as the next Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu.
I'm reading this report that's been sent out. It says that he's constitutionally bound not to swear in Sasikala at this time till a clear picture emerges. There is in fact no provision in the constitution which allows the governor to decide whether or not he wants to swear in somebody, because remember the judgment in this case is pending. At this time all the legal opinion we've had suggests that he needs to swear in Sasikala. She can be knocked out later, she can be disqualified later, but at this time the governor legally at least has no provision under the constitution which bars him or prevents him from swearing in Sasikala.
Why this entire note and the manner in which he has drawn his inferences is a bit strange. Another interesting point, Rahul, that he has pointed out in the 3-page note is that PILs have been filed against giving invitation to form the government to Sasikala. Now that's pretty strange for a governor to take note of some public interest litigations that have been filed in the Supreme Court against a certain decision that the governor may take, and for him to actually take cognizance of that. So it would seem that the governor is slightly overreaching himself in the manner in which he has drawn his inferences and concluded that he cannot invite Sasikala to form the next government of Tamil Nadu and allow a caretaker chief minister to continue. Now, how long will he allow Paneerselvam to continue? We do not know. Of course, a lot will depend on when the verdict in the disproportionate assets case comes to the Supreme Court, and that may actually dictate which way Tamil Nadu goes from here.
Now to Rohini Swami, she's joining us on this big breaking story. Rohini, sources in the governor's house confirming to you that yes, he said Sasikala can't be chief minister. What's the word coming out of Poise Garden? This would be a telling, crushing blow to Sasikala's ambitions to become the next Tamil Nadu chief minister. And I want to tell our viewers this before we go to this breaking story. Every single significant aspect of this big Tamil Nadu pot boiler is breaking right here on India Today. Rohini, take it away.
Well, Rahul, it's also interesting, yes, at this point of time that the governor's office also saying that it's not possible for her to actually claim her majority and stake claim for the government. Also, look at the details that have been just put out by Sudhir. It's very clearly showing that at this time the governor is looking at the fact that O. Paneerselvam seems to have, as a caretaker government, have the kind of clout and is possible. But let me tell you something, Rahul, that Sasikala did speak to our colleague Pramod Madhav at the Poise Garden, and she said she would like to wait and watch before and the entire thing pans out before the verdict. So we are looking here at a reaction also coming in from Poise Garden. So clearly she knows, VK Sasikala knows, that she could be in the dock right now. Her claim to form the government also is a little difficult at this point of time for herself. With the governor also in his meeting with Sasikala, obviously he has taken a stand after meeting O. Paneerselvam that things are better in the way they stand right now till they have to wait and watch till the court case comes, the verdict for the court case comes out. But my information from my sources is that the governor has revoked the resignation, is ready to revoke the resignation of O. Paneerselvam, and as of now he is also saying that Sasikala cannot stake claim and show majority to form the government and become the chief minister.
Looking at all the other news channels just now, nobody else seems to have this story. Sasikala's ambitions being dealt a telling blow. Governor Vidyasagar Rao saying Sasikala cannot be chief minister because the Supreme Court verdict is pending. Is that constitutionally, legally appropriate? I want to get a legal response now. Sanjay Hegde, advocate in the Supreme Court, is joining us on this broadcast. I also want to welcome to the newsroom tonight Rajesh Sundaram, leading political journalist out of Chennai. I want to go across to Sanjay Hegde first, because Sanjay, you were with us on this broadcast arguing with Soli Sorabji, saying the governor has no right to delay the swearing in of Sasikala. Now, however, from the information that we have available, the story that Rohini and Sudhir are breaking, the governor has told the centre Sasikala can't be sworn in. He's saying he's constitutionally bound not to swear in Sasikala till the time the disproportionate assets case verdict comes out. What do you make of this, Sanjay?
All that I make out of it is that the governor has been badly advised, if that is his understanding of the Constitution. I must tell you that every citizen of India has a right to a presumption of innocence. Sasikala has been acquitted by the High Court. We do not know which way the Supreme Court will rule. Till such time as the Supreme Court rules, she must be presumed to be innocent, and she has all the qualifications to be a chief minister because there is no disqualification. This is not the way constitutions are worked. This particular governor's actions will be judged by history rather harshly, almost like the actions of Governor Ramlal, who was instrumental in bringing down the NTR government way back in the 1980s.
Sources close to Vidyasagar Rao are telling India today that the last 72 hours he's been spending speaking to a cross-section of very prominent lawyers. So while you've taken a certain position, Vidyasagar Rao's people will tell us that they've actually been seeking legal opinion, and they believe that their report to the Ministry of Home Affairs, it's a written report by the governor, constitutional post. They believe that that written report is proper, is bona fide.
Well, it is a written report, no doubt, but each of that reasoning can be picked apart in no time flat. First and foremost, I was telling you that there is no disqualification. Secondly, the Constitution requires the governor to have a council of ministers with a chief minister to advise him. A caretaker chief minister is there only as a caretaker for a few days till there is a council of ministers. Here is a legislature with a majority party. That majority party has chosen a leader. The governor has no discretion or wiggle room to delay the swearing in. Right now we have a governor who refuses to follow his Raj Dharma as dictated by the Constitution.
Go across now to the Golden Bay Resort in Mahabalipuram. My colleague Akshay Nath is standing guard there. Akshay, it's been a tough day for you. You've made multiple attempts to try and get into the resort. I saw our reporters being chased away by these strongmen from Manargudi apparently. Now tell me, has word reached the resort that Sasikala can't take over? How do you believe this may impact what these MLAs have been thinking and doing so far?
Well, Rahul, the thing is, most of these people are completely cut off from what is happening in the outside world. As we've been telling you, there's no newspapers and no television reports going to them. The only thing that they've been able to access are the food that these people are being provided with, and also some movies that they're being showcased to. But other than that, most of these MLAs who are coming out and who had actually spoken to us earlier today, they've insisted that they're staying here on their own terms and not being forced upon. But the statement, Rahul, it has to be noted, the way it was sent out, the way it was spoken to, it was almost like these people were forced to come out and confess that they're okay inside. In fact, one of the MLA's family members had filed a habeas corpus because they were not able to reach through to them. But in contrast, most of these MLAs who came out and who spoke, they insisted that they've been talking to their family members. So we have been able to see contradictions in their own statements also, Rahul. And we've also been tracking here the whole day, and now we've seen that a little while earlier, a few of the people living in and around the area have been creating a ruckus, saying that their daily life has been disrupted and they are not able to go ahead with a normal life. And we're being told that maybe tonight these MLAs will be moved to another resort, or maybe even moved out of Tamil Nadu itself, because there's a lot of pressure that has been mounted on them. The thing is, Sasikala Natarajan, who says that she has 130 odd MLAs on her side, seems to be in a very slippery ground. We've seen that earlier O. Paneerselvam was in favor of her, but he came out talking against her, and many other MLAs also have jumped the ship from the resort where they were staying. So there is a fear that there might be more people moving out, and the governor's statement that has come out now will only bring in more people to move out of this faction, Rahul.
Okay, I want to read to our viewers. I've now actually been just sent an actual copy of that report. I want to read out to our viewers. Just bear with me. It's slightly small. Here it is. Come take a look at this. Thiru Paneerselvam met the governor at 5 p.m. Paneerselvam and Sasikala presented their cases in the present situation. Remember, this story breaking only on India Today. I don't even see it in any of the Tamil channels just now. The governor has been watching the developments keenly and consulting legal luminaries across the nation to get different shades of legal opinion. We are reading out from the actual governor's report for the first time. This is the first definitive opinion the governor has given in this case. So far, all we'd heard from him was deafening silence. Governor has gone through the constitutional provisions carefully and the interpretation contained without case laws. A peculiar situation in this case is that the resolution of the AIADMK legislators was actually proposed by Thiru Paneerselvam. In the resolution given by VK Sasikala, it is seen that it was mooted. This is their language, just bear with me. It's a bit tedious because Paneerselvam informed the General Secretary of the AIADMK Sasikala of his resignation having been submitted to the governor. It is also noted that Paneerselvam has proposed the resolution and also signed the same. Now, Paneerselvam has stated that he was constrained, forced and coerced to sign the resignation letter under duress and therefore requested to rescind any action taken thereon. The current situation in Tamil Nadu presents a unique set of constitutional issues with no precedent of its kind. Here, a person who stakes claim to form the government based on the resolution passed at a meeting of the legislature, but she is not a legislator in the assembly. Hence, it's not a straight case under 164.1. It has to be considered under 164.1, read with 164.4. 164.4 is a minister who for any period of 6 consecutive months is not a member of the legislature of the state shall at the expiration of that period cease to be a member. I now come to the next page. It says an interpretation of the clause contained in a Supreme Court judgment is as follows. Article 154.4, just bear with me, it's small text, so just give me a moment. 154.4 is not a source of power or an enabling provision for appointment of a non-legislator as a member. It is widely reported in the media that the government of Karnataka, represented by senior advocate Thiru Dushyant Dave, made an urgent mention before the Honorable Supreme Court saying we are concerned about the judgment which was reserved on the 7th of June 2016. To this, the Honorable Bench is stated to have told the senior counsel to wait for just another week. This raises a doubt in view of the impending judgment whether she shall be in a position to contest the election to get elected as a legislator within 6 months. Even when there is an iota of doubt about the ability of the person to get elected to the assembly within 6 months, Article 154.4 has to be interpreted as a restriction or a disqualification as contained in this interpretation. The governor is bound by the constitution to satisfy himself that a person staking claim would be able to form a stable government in view of the impending judgment in the disproportionate assets case. An uncertainty exists about the qualification of Sasikala to be an MLA. Under these circumstances, the governor is bound. Big breaking news, breaking first, only and exclusively on India Today. Under these circumstances, the governor is bound by the constitution to wait for a few days so that a clear picture emerges, enabling him to discharge the duties in accordance with the spirit of the constitution. It is reported in the media that PILs are also filed in the Honorable Supreme Court against Sasikala to form the government, and the same is pending. Is also to be noted. Last page, page number 3. I said it's a 3-page report. I've read out 2 pages. I now come to last page, page number 3. Since the incumbent chief minister has been asked to continue consequent to his resignation until alternative arrangements are made, there is no vacuum and hence no need to be unduly alarmed. So, Paneerselvam is back as chief minister according to this note. Insofar as the law and order situation is concerned, the cultural event of Jallikat is being held at various centres successfully with usual joy and fervour. The present political situation is only due to the internal affairs of the ruling party. No significant law and order incident has been reported over the issue. The governor is concerned about certain allegations of MLAs being confined and possibilities of horse trading. He has held a meeting with the chief secretary, the DGP and the commissioner of police of Greater Chennai and given clear instructions to verify the allegations and ensure that the MLAs are at their free will. The governor does not side with any party and he is guided only by the constitutional provisions and their interpretations contained in case laws. Governor will uphold democracy and the values of the constitution. Governor hopes that a clear picture emerges at the earliest. That is the note sent by Governor Vidyasagar Rao to the Ministry of Home Affairs. I just read out to you the entire note from Alpha to Omega. The note stays Sasikala cannot be the next chief minister. Paneerselvam back as chief minister full time. The governor says that, which essentially means that there is no need for him to prove his majority on the floor of the house. Those are images coming in now from the residents of O Pannirselvam. There will be joy, there will be delirium, they will be delighted. Remember, I said this and I'm saying it again, this story breaking only on India Today. So far, all the Tamil channels, all the regional channels, all the national channels, totally clueless about this big breaking story. Pannirselvam reinstated by Governor Vidyasagar Rao as the Chief Minister once more. I want to go across now to Narayan Lakshman, Senior Deputy Editor of the Hindu newspaper. Rajesh Sundaram is joining me. Narayan Lakshman, to you first. What do you make of this story being broken by India Today? Sasikala ruled out, O Pannirselvam reinstated as the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu.
I definitely do concur with Sanjay Hegde. Governor may have received advice from a variety of constitutional experts. However, it is not at all clear to me that Ms. Sasikala, going by what we've seen in the disproportional asset case so far and the Karnataka High Court's decision on that, it does not seem that she is guilty yet. And to me, again, the proper thing would have been to wait for the actual judgment to come out from the Supreme Court. So the governor has expressed his own view on that, and it will be in the days ahead that we see why exactly he took that decision. Now, the second point about Mr. Pannirselvam continuing as the Chief Minister from acting to sort of a semi-permanent or maybe even on a permanent basis now going forward until we have that verdict at least. I question that too, because we have, while there may be no law and order situation relating to Jallikattu, there is a question of constitutional machinery. And in fact, not that we are invoking Article 356 at this point, but one of the strongest reason for invoking such an article is the breakdown of constitutional machinery. And we have seen the mechanics of this working through the state government's apparatus. So you had the case of the Commissioner George. You had the situation, evolving where Mr. Pannirselvam has attempted to pass certain orders or, just send instructions down the line, but it has not happened. And there is a real reason for that. And that does pertain to constitutional machinery. And that is that the state bureaucracy apparatus is in a state of limbo, whether you like it or not. And this applies to a variety of senior functionaries. And the reason for that, again, is because there is this entire block of MLAs within the AIADMK who have firmly indicated, at least from what we have seen so far, have indicated that they are throwing their weight behind Ms. Sasikala's faction. So that is not something that can be wished away overnight. It is very much a real factor.
A whole host of graphics ready for this broadcast, very detailed scenarios explaining what may happen, what happens next, but all of that essentially tossed out of the window now, Rajesh Sundaram, with the governor saying that O Pannirselvam is back as Chief Minister. This is totally unprecedented. It's virtually as if the governor has taken back a resignation of a Chief Minister, which he's accepted, which means that for all practical purposes, O Pannirselvam has unresigned, if at all that's possible.
Well, Pannirselvam couldn't have asked for anything better because, as the days go on, the number of people who are coming and crossing over to side, whether they're MLAs or former leaders, is increasing. Also, there are allegations of horse trading that have been put by the opposition. And in that scenario, he could do with a few extra days to do his homework, to do his groundwork, to get to the position, the claim that he's making about how he can prove his majority in the floor of the House. So the more time he gets, the better it is for him.
Okay, I want to bring in now the two factions of the AIADMK. The Sasikala camp, so far at least, was being represented by Apsara Reddy. I want to know if that's still the case. Dorai Pandian, our viewers would recall from a few days ago, jumped over from the Sasikala camp into the O Pannirselvam camp live on India Today, minutes after Pannirselvam said that he was distancing himself from Sasikala, that the conscience of Jayalalitha was speaking to him. I want to go across to Apsara Reddy first. Your face says it all, Apsara. The story breaking first on India Today. The governor saying Sasikala cannot be Chief Minister. He also doesn't even ask for a show of strength in the assembly. O Pannirselvam has virtually been reinstated. What are you making of this, Apsara Reddy?
Rahul, I congratulate you for breaking the story first, and I'm glad that I'm joining you. I firmly am with VK Sasikala madam. This is just a small barrier in our way because the governor, I don't know who's shooting over through his shoulders, but I just feel the governor should have acted more responsibly. He's only an approver, not a constitutional conscience keeper. For him to have, kind of dilly-dallied for so long and sworn in to reinstate Paneer Selvam, whose resignation he accepted. He brought on the situation in the first place by accepting his resignation. Why did he accept it? He knew of the DA case. Why did he accept his resignation?
Live images. O. Paneer Selvam has just done a press conference. You're seeing he's being garlanded. Word has reached Poise Garden. Word has reached O. Paneer Selvam's residence that he seems to have the vote of confidence, at least of the governor, if nobody else. Durai Pandyan, you'd be delighted. You jumped ship live on TV and you seem to have jumped onto the right ship. Well done then.
Absolutely no regrets. And my submission would be, as far as the governor's words statement is concerned, no, I don't think anybody can rebut it. And it is, according to the constitution, he had decided. Let us welcome it instead of, shouting for so and so and for Sasikala. Let us think of it, what the constitution, the basic pillars of the nation says.
No, but this is totally unprecedented. Remember, Sanjay Hegde, we must not lose focus. We've seen governors in Arunachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand both act out of line, being severely reprimanded later by the Supreme Court, their decisions being turned back. Now, I've got this 3-page note right here in my hand, the note sent by the governor. This is the biggest breaking story tonight, and that story is breaking here on India Today. While we're very happy that we're breaking the story, we're also simultaneously conscious of the fact that this judgment or this note of the governor needs to withstand scrutiny in a court of law if it's to be challenged, and there several of what I've just read out to our viewers seems to be on weak ground to me, Sanjay.
Absolutely on weak ground. The governor has in effect brought about a constitutional coup. He has exercised a veto which he does not have. The governor has no discretion in saying that I don't think such and such a person is suitable, that something might happen to her in the future. For heaven's sake, anybody you possibly can think of swearing in might be struck dead by lightning the next moment. All these kinds of ifs and buts and fanciful kind of doubt is not what the Constitution is looking for. The constitutional path is very clear. The governor is an unelected appointed official. He has to respect the will of the majority party in the legislature or the majority of the legislators.
And in that sense, Durai Pandyan, this order of the governor can later be challenged because this is an order tailor-made for Paneer Selvam. Why? Because the majority of the MLAs are still siding with Sasikala. So instead of one second, hear me out. So instead of ordering a floor test, he could have said, there's no provision of taking back a resignation. You prove your majority in 10 days. He realizes the MLAs are still with Sasikala. So instead he says that I'm pretty much taking back your resignation. You are again Chief Minister. So you've just heard a very prominent Supreme Court advocate argue that there is no provision in which you can say.
What is wrong in that?
No, I'll tell you what is questionable is at some point in time in the future, lightning can strike and a Chief Minister can die. Sanjay had no reason for him to be denied the right to be Chief Minister.
If you want, you are interested, you take it to the courts. Then nobody is bothered, nobody is preventing you from going to courts. My humble submission is, in the habeas corpus petition, the High Court was pleased to order notice to DGP and Sasikala. That must be not less than 1 week at least. In the time, in 5 days, the judgment in Supreme Court will be pronounced. If it goes the other way, what will be the end of it? That is why I am coming to tell you, the governor's opinion is perfect. His finding is perfect. If you are prejudiced, you can approach the appropriate forum.
yeah, that's correct. Apsara Reddy, will you be challenging this? Will the Sasikala camp be challenging this in the Supreme Court?
The news just broke, so I'm 100% sure our legal teams are exploring that option. I'm sure that is an option before us. But I'd just like to ask Mr. Dorai Pandian directly, you can put that question to him. When he's talking so much about constitution, what happened to Mr. Paneerselvam's constitutional duty when he proposed a name as CM, when he proposed a name as the General Secretary, and then he fell on her feet and took blessings? What happened before the metaphysical conversation he had with Jayalalitha Madam? Why the sudden U-turn? Now he's harping about constitution.
Which constitution?
The governor is not within his rights to do what he did today.
Which constitutional provision? Which?
Let's be very clear.
I can't answer you, Nana.
No. I want to go back to Sanjay Hegde. While we'll break this story and break it way before our competition, and really even now nobody seems to have this story, nobody seems to have this 3-page report. I want to show it to you once again. Just come close. I now have a printout. I want to come to page 2. Here it is. I read it out to you. Under these circumstances, the governor is bound by the constitution to wait for a few days so that a clear picture emerges, enabling him to discharge his duties in accordance with the letter and spirit of the constitution. He says over here, this raises a doubt in view of the impending judgment whether Sasikala will be in a position to contest elections and to get elected as a legislator within a few months. Even when there is an iota of doubt about the ability of a person to get elected to the assembly, Article 164.4, sorry, not 54.4, 164.4 has to be interpreted as a restriction disqualification as contained in the interpretation by the Honorable Supreme Court mentioned above. Rajesh Sundaram, what's your sense? This big breaking story playing out here in India today, what's your sense? Has the governor acted after proper legal counsel, or does he seem to be acting in a partisan manner?
Well, if you talk to the constitutional experts, they will go by what Mr. Hegde is saying. So clearly, what this has actually done is bought time for Paneerselvam. He's, in his house, sending out feelers to people, asking them to come and join his team. So the more time that he has now, he can lure more people into this. So there are, by the way, allegations of horse trading that are being now brought in by the DMK and other political parties. So in that scenario, it is a bit of a dangerous situation, given that there is a bit of a crisis in the bureaucracy, in terms of who they take orders from at this time. So all of that leads to a very, does lead to a very serious situation right now.
Okay. Narayan Lakshman, what do you believe happens next? In several senses, O. Paneerselvam reinstated, Sasikala's chances ruled out at least for the time being, and there will be no floor test either. So that's the sense that's coming out from this report of the governor. What do you think happens next? The MLAs so far solidly with Sasikala, is that the way they'll stay, or do you think they may start drifting?
Yeah, so I think that effectively, while the governor has perhaps been taken this decision or sent this report with a view to, I don't know, preserving the better welfare of the state, stability and peace and harmony in the state, it could actually have the opposite effect. Because yes, public opinion was largely in favor of Mr. Paneerselvam, and that, when I say that, I mean the general public. And at the same time, however, by preempting this, he has made some very big assumptions. So one of them is, again, I'm not a constitutional expert, but one of them is this matter about deciding a priori that Ms. Sasikala would not be able to win an election within 6 months if she were if she were given the chance to become chief minister, or at least have a chance to have a floor test and to test that whether there is a majority of MLAs who are willing to stay with her. Now, at the same time, as Mr. Apsara Reddy also indicated, there is likely to be further legal challenges as well. The party is not going, the Sasikala faction is not going to sit quiet. And they have very strong arguments to make. Let us not forget, I'm sure Mr. Hegde will agree with me here, that will relate to the General Council of the AIADMK voting her as General Secretary. And they will have to get into the nitty-gritties of whether that stands or not. And I think it would be hard to dislodge that. So on the one hand, he has done this with a probably an eye on the larger interests of the state or perhaps other interests which we cannot speculate on right now. But what he may have actually done is to create two parallel power centers which are definitely going to clash with each other on multiple dimensions: legal, political, and let us hope for the sake of the state, not physical. I mean on the streets of Chennai or elsewhere in Tamil Nadu.
Very good point. I want to bring Sudhir in on that, because you've got O. Pannirselvam possibly back as Chief Minister without a floor test, and you've got Sasikala, who so far at least seems to have the MLAs backing her. Do you see these MLAs now drift towards Pannirselvam, or do you think that, as we just heard Narayan Lakshman say, there could be all manner of trouble in Tamil Nadu next few days?
Well, I see this as a version of the Kaun Banega Mukhyamantri contest happening in Tamil Nadu, Rahul. You have Sasikala winning the fastest fingers first, but the governor calls OPS to sit on the hot seat. He also gives him a lifeline and perhaps even asks him to phone a friend. And the friend is who? The person sitting in Raj Bhavan. Otherwise, how else do you infer, how else do you conclude the 3-page report which is going completely in O. Pannirselvam's favor? Obviously, he has been allowed more time. This will give him opportunity to kind of woo the MLAs who are in the Sasikala camp at this point in time, because now they will feel that, okay, Sasikala is not going to form the government. Let's probably go with the person who is from caretaker chief minister probably going to become a full-time chief minister. So obviously this will give Pannirselvam and his camp a huge opportunity to probably form some kind of a government, but it will be a big question mark whether so many MLAs, almost the entire bunch of 125 odd MLAs, will actually shift to Pannirselvam. I still have my doubts on that.
Okay, I want to get in a word now from Durai Pandian. Mr. Pandian, do you think that the MLAs will start shifting? Once the word about the governor's report comes out, do you think the MLAs will start drifting?
Definitely. That is what is going. Rahul, check from tomorrow morning, right from this time also it would have started. These people, as you said, the whole bulk of people where the MLAs, lot of MLAs more and totally will come back to OPS Anna's faction. That is what is going to happen. And Mrs. Sasikala will left with no other alternative except to resign from that post also and to quit politics.
No, but when the governor spoke to India today, when the MLA spoke to India today, they said this afternoon that no, we are not being kept here against our will, that we are here because we back Sasikala. So far the MLAs are actually, majority of them, backing Sasikala. Very few seem to be siding with your man.
That is already started. From today, the High Court, Honorable High Court was pleased to order the Kanchipuram collector to serve food for all those confined MLAs whom they are locked in. If you have guts, allow them, release them to their respective homes, and then come down to the floor and let us see the strength. You always, you will keep.
Is that something you're worried about?
Threatening.
As word goes out that the governor believes O. Pannirselvam can continue as chief minister, a lot of the MLAs who at this time are part of that beach, booze, bash at that Mahabalipuram resort may start drifting towards O. Pannirselvam because they realize that that's where the power seems to reside?
The question is to me?
Yes, Apsara, it is.
Not at all. In fact, our party is very united. We don't believe in the small barriers that come our way. In fact, from day one, Mr. OPS has been sitting with open arms and nobody's been drifting the way Mr. Durai Pandian is making it seem. It's only the disgruntled, ousted leaders who are not in any kind of, they're not people's representatives except for one or two. So we're not worried at all. We will come through this, and Chief Minister will become VK Sasikala Madam eventually. You will wait and watch.
Sanjay Hegde, what do you think can happen next? So far we haven't seen the AIADMK say they'll challenge this legally. Do you think there will be a legal challenge? Can there be a legal challenge? Where will that be moved? Will it be moved in the High Court or in the Supreme Court?
Normally such challenges would have to go to the High Court first, because the Supreme Court can always tell them, even if they approach the Supreme Court, that you exhaust your remedies before the High Court, before you come to the Supreme Court. That's normal law for all litigants, and that would apply in this case also. But I don't expect a long drawn out litigation battle to continue for a great length of time, because ultimately the Supreme Court ruling, one way or the other, in the disproportionate assets appeal will come. So even this fig leaf of maybe she will get convicted or maybe she will not get convicted, that will disappear. That basic cause will disappear. After that, depending on which way the verdict goes, the game can play out in several fashions. What is clear to me, however, is that the governor has been used to split the All India AIADMK. The split is not a new phenomenon in the AIADMK insofar as succession battles are concerned. You will remember that even after MGR died, there were two factions. MGR's wife formed the government, but then she could not hold on, and then thereafter Jayalalitha came into power after an interval where the BJP, where the DMK held power. History seems to be repeating itself. It only tells me one thing, that if you want to be chief minister, you have to fight for it.
Okay, if you want to be chief minister, you want to fight for it. That really is the way it is. I want to see if I can bring in a word now from Subramaniam Swamy as well. In a moment from now, I'm hoping to have Subramaniam Swamy joining us. He's been very critical of the governor so far. Very, very critical of the governor so far, saying the governor has no constitutional right to deny Sasikala the chance to become chief minister. This is quite unprecedented. There hasn't ever been a situation, Rajesh Sundaram, where the governor says that in the future you may be convicted. He hasn't actually said that, but he's indicated that the verdict is to come out, and therefore till there is clarity you shouldn't be sworn in. This is a reading of the constitution which will be debated and questioned for a very long time to come, Rajesh.
Yeah, that's true, and I think there will be a lot of challenges that go in there, and it will be one of those cases, where the judiciary would come down on this decision that the governor has taken. But clearly, I think what this leaves the state with is in a bit of a mess, because you have the bureaucrats who don't know what to do. The administration is operating in a vacuum, and not the best decision that the governor would have taken. If he took it towards political stability at the earliest, that would have been in the largest interest, and also, like most constitutional experts are saying, the constitutionally correct thing to do.
Okay, so what we're going to do right now is take a very quick break. We're returning. We're keeping all our guests with us. We're taking a quick break. We'll come back and we'll have a lot more on this story on the other side. Stay with us. We're back in 2.